next panelist is Grace Bediako, who has at short notice substituted for Francesca. Grace is Chief of the Social Statistics Division in the Demographic and Social Statistics branch of the UN Statistics Division. Grace, thank you very much for substituting for Francesca at very short notice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's also a pleasure for me to be here, to be part of this initiative. In order to stay away from what has been said already, I'll just approach this from the point of view of official statistics. And as previous speakers have said, issues about adding on to surveys in country, and I'd like to look in this, examine it in this context. Clearly, there has been a lot of research and effort that has gone into this work. So the question is really, where do we go from here? How do we make this a useful part of what's already at the country level? So in terms of the papers, the question that keeps coming up to me is, what is our purpose? How do we view this in the context of national statistics? Are we trying to influence policy, and this was also raised, or we're just trying to better understand social issues and causalities underlying the different dimensions that we identify, and poverty? There are some drivers to the policy directions that we have now in many developing economies. We have the Millennium Development Goals, and then the poverty reduction strategies that many countries have embarked on. These are ongoing. There are also ongoing efforts to monitor and evaluate progress within these frameworks. And admittedly, there are a lot of missing areas that have been identified and which are not adequately covered at the moment. There is therefore a chance to expand what is already at the country level. The question is this what we want to do? And if so, are we prepared to do whatever it takes? And as has been alluded to, this can be a long process. The common tension that is really in this paper is really what is the purpose, and what purpose should we serve with this initiative. I think some researchers would want to just keep it simple, don't complicate your lives, and just limit the sphere of influence. In much the same way as national statisticians would also like to be left alone to do what they are most comfortable with. But somewhere we've got to serve each other's purpose. Research has a very important part to play in driving the kinds of data we collect, and also driving policy directions. And I think this is what we want to really strongly develop in this initiative. So in terms of where we go from here, for all this work to have value added, I think we need first to look at how we continue the research agenda for the academic community, and also how we bring this to the public arena. So we have to do both. We have to engage researchers more to bring or extend this experience, and we have to bring it also to the data collection at the national level. On the other hand, on one hand, some of these questions that have been suggested have remained at the research level, mainly the subjective well-being questions and the other elements. In employment, this is more within what national offices have been collecting. Not all, but there's a selected set of countries that have used many of these questions that have been suggested. So, what we want to do to bring national offices on board is, as has been mentioned before, what are the key policies? Because it's the policies that would drive any change for those of us who are really set in what we want to collect. So we need to link these to policies, the relevant areas of policy, and the key indicators that are linked to these policy areas. And then the minimum set of questions would then fit into the broader picture. And even though 6 to 8 questions seem small enough, when you come down to data collection, I think the demand will be to even go further down to 2 or 3 questions. So it's a lot of work to just get this added onto other surveys. And as has been mentioned, this is probably the best way to go if we want to link up to other characteristics. So in essence, we're trying to, we would hope, or I would hope that we're trying to target a wide set of audience here. We have the research community that we need to continue to engage. We also have the national statistical offices that should be brought on board, statistical agencies of international organizations that routinely set the standards and provide directions on how data collection should be conducted at the national level. And then development partners or donors who still have a very important role in many of the data collection activities that are taking place at the country level. So together, this needs to be some consortium of these different groups to agree on these missing areas and how we drive this much further. So in essence, this is just the beginning, as we all recognize, and we need to expand the audience to get more people involved. But it also signals a long haul. It's going to take quite a bit of time to engage all these constituents. But I think that we'll all agree with the given items that we've identified that this is all worth it if we invest the time. Because for many of our countries, poverty reduction is the main topic on the agenda. And any direction as to how to better monitor and evaluate these policy initiatives would be very much appreciated. It only takes time to convince many statistical offices of what they need to do. Thank you.